Hey, everybody. Welcome to Find Your Lady Tribe. Michelle and I were just talking. I want to ask her this question now. What kinds of things did you do before you had kids?
Wow, it's hard for me
For
to
fun.
Oh,
yeah. Yeah, for interest, for
for
fun.
fun. Oh gosh, yeah. Besides like grow up and go to school.
Right,
and
right,
all
right,
of
right.
those
Yeah,
kind of
yeah,
things.
yeah. Young adult, I guess, wise, the things you started to.
Well, I had this great group of friends that we all hung out sort of
Mhm.
every weekend, and we were maybe we were even underage for drinking or something, but we all hung out at our apartment. It was usually my and my best friend's apartment, and we just always knew we were going to get together.
Mm-hmm.
Right? We just kind of had that standing date, and
Yeah.
we played the same games, and we had the same, but we just always knew we were there and that we were getting together, and it was open
Regular
and
girl time then.
regular. And then we would take trips on the weekends and go places that we just wait and see where we were going to go this weekend. My best friend was a travel agent when there were travel agents, and she would get great deals. Like we could stay at a hotel then for the price of the taxes. And
Nice.
so sometimes we'd just go, and then always we would go home. So it was, we could always go home and see our parents and check in on them and kind of go back to our hometown when we needed to. So that was really the kind of stuff, besides work and school and growing up that we did before we had kids. That's what we
Yeah.
did. What kind
I
of stuff
love
did
it.
you do
Okay, I love it.
prior to the nest filling up?
So I was very social.
No.
Yeah, I had a lot of great things happening all the time. I played softball. In fact, I was the one that organized the team, and some people called me coach, although I did no coaching, but it was more like just managing. I made sure that we had our uniforms and all that good stuff. And of course, after every game and practice, we would all go to our favorite hangout and share what's going on in our lives and good, bad, and the ugly. Just having a lot of connection, a lot of fun. Did things
Mm-hmm.
like scuba diving, lots of exercise and hiking and all kinds of great stuff. And gosh, wow, all those great things. I have to say, are you still doing, or when you became a mother, were you able to continue that?
Oh gosh, no, there was no more Friday nights, no more weekends away. Yeah, when your life changes, when your nest starts to fill up.
It does. Yeah, I haven't scuba dived in a long time. I haven't played softball in a long time. A lot of stuff, um, even my career, kind of, dis- we made decisions that focused me more and more and more into that family, which was my choice. But that's what today's episode is all about. We're going to talk about how sometimes as wives and mothers in our roles, even in our career, how those roles kind of become who we are, and when it's not really the essence of who we are. So stay tuned. Welcome to Find Your Lady Tribe. My name is Brenda.
And I am Michelle.
And it's our mission to build a community of lady tribes, a place to connect and grow your tribe with resources, ideas, workshops, retreats, and events. We invite you to join our inner circle and become a tribe leader. It's free!
Each week, we will start a conversation about connecting within your tribe and across all of our tribes. Our goal is to create 1,000 new lady tribes in 2022. And each episode will challenge you with a call to action. The first one is to join our inner circle. Go to tinyurl.com/myladytribe. And as a gratitude gift, we will send you a downloadable copy of Chapter 1 of Lady and the Tribe, The Awakening.
Yay! So please subscribe to be notified of a new episode each week. Welcome back. So, as I mentioned, I did a lot of great things prior to kids. PK, I like to call it. PK. Prior to
PreK.
PreK. Or BK. I think I call it BK actually to a lot of people before kids. But pre-K works. And not that anyone asked me to, but once I became a mother, my sole focus became this baby. And first thing kind of to go was the regular get-togethers with some of my girlfriends, and those social relationships that really kind of mirror back to you, or who certainly mirrored back to me, who I was in the world. Um, now who I was mom.
Mm-hmm.
And over, it was completely by choice, although it wasn't intentional to allow those relationships to kind of over time become superficial. That's was the result.
Yeah.
And that another baby comes along, and they grow up a little bit, and your play dates and good stuff become their play dates, and
Mm-hmm.
my activities, my exercise routines, my yoga and aerobics, it was at the time, all those great things, became their t-ball and basketball, and being the spectator and being the soccer mom instead of actually investing in my own health and well-being. And then it got to a point where we had a decision to make as a household, and my career was the one that I wholeheartedly let go of to become more available in the home. And it was a path that I had been on to the point where I had a master's degree in human resources, and I was a human resources manager for a big Fortune 500 company. And it became, just not my passion anymore, but also a lot of my identity. Kind of when I decided that was, as a family, we're going to do this, seemed like a very logical decision and all that, but I didn't kind of even take into consideration all the ramifications of that another piece of my identity. I was just checking off and investing it back in the family.
Yeah.
What was your experience?
Probably similar, well, except that I was a single mom on my own when my BC, before,
BK?
no, mine was BC. I always
Okay.
called it before Connor.
Okay.
Life ended before that first child because it was a surprise.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that I, like a lot of moms, was just submerged into a different and new identity without any warning, without any chance to actually consider my choices that way. But a lot of the same things turn up in your identity that way as you have family and children. And part of probably motherhood in itself is laying those things down. The important part is, when do we pick them back up again?
Right. It is very important. And you're right. It's just, if you think of it as laying it down, because we are becoming a whole new role as well. I mean, becoming a whole new person, really, that overnight you become a different person. That's at least been my experience. But when does that happen? So, for me, I was so all in to the family unit, and to, their goals, their dreams, and helping them. I really believed it was my purpose in life to empower these children and build them up so that they were going to be the difference makers. I was just the creator of the difference maker.
Yeah.
But when
me too.
When it became to like high school time with the kids, that's when my son was going into his senior year and my daughter was just hitting high school. I was like, I had this aha, like, oh my gosh, my life as I know it and love it is about to change forever. And I was not very happy about this. And I think there's a little bit of control in that. A little bit of control. Like, who am I without them? When they're not going to be here, who am I anymore? I didn't have any of those things and people in my life that used to reflect to me who I was in this world. And instead of searching right away, I fell into a pretty deep depression. And I didn't even realize I was depressed, but I, gained 20 or 30 pounds. I started kind of just creating and clinging to every moment that was every last. I was completely focused on the last this, the last that. we better make this a big deal. So, it's a memory. I got to make memories because I want them to come back. I want them to come back and want to be here, not go off to New York, Chicago, LA, and never see them again. So I have to create something great here so that they're going to want to come back and visit. And I was in a panic, a frantic internally. On the outside, maybe it wasn't showing up that way, but I was, it showed up on the scale in the way I felt about myself, and just in probably my relationships.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember that time because you were struggling with finding your own thing, and attention had finally turned to almost put pressure on you to find your own thing. And but I think you're doing beautifully. How did you find what your real purpose beyond after the success and the completion of the children leaving the nest? How did you take the step from where you were to where you are?
Right. Well, it was actually a networking event with Jane when I had this kind of aha revelation, because she's an empty nester. And I didn't know her very well at the time because, everything was superficial. Didn't have time for those kinds of things. It was all, how's it going? How's business? What you doing this weekend? Beautiful day, those kinds of things. But I just kind of was at a weak moment. And I said, Jane, are you really okay? And she's like, what? I go, well, you're an empty nester and I'm going to be an empty nester soon. And I'm kind of nervous about this. And she's like, I am more than okay. I am free. And she just kind of lit up. And she was like, I get to do this, and I get to do this, and I get to do this. And I was like, and I began to have this hope again and I thought, oh, I would like to travel. I would like to do those things. And I remembered all these things that I used to have to say no to. No, we've got a volleyball tournament. I can't go on a trip to Italy with you. Thank you for inviting me. No, I can't do this because of, family stuff.
Oh, and finances too.
Oh my gosh.
There's so much for so long that we gave up. I should have put that on the list.
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah. Our complete entertainment budget was
gone.
Kids,
it was there.
Sports, kids, things. And being a spectator at a t-ball game, which became baseball and all that, which it's not, it was a sacrifice, but it wasn't, right?
Yeah, of course.
It was an investment. But yes, the finances as well. But so I started by creating a get to list. And I'm get to do things. I started dreaming again. And I started thinking about the things that I used to love to do that, filled me up. And so, it's all, now I'm kind of excited because I've been working with other women who are kind of going through this process, finding themselves in this lost space of grief. Let's face it. It's a loss.
Yes.
It's a loss of the lifestyle that you've created, and this, and the physical presence of your kids that, when they leave, they leave physically, but they also leave a big hole, in your emotional and in your heart.
Yeah. And what to do with all that time.
And what to do. Well, yeah. Isn't that funny? Because I'm so busy. But yeah, so now, I love to help women just with a few different strategies. I mean, I've got about 10. It's a process. True change takes process. It takes time, and it takes investment of time and energy and even money. Sometimes to reinvest in yourself a little bit.
Well, I have a lot of friends that are exactly in that space right now, exactly what you're talking about, and got there similarly. So if you were going to help a friend who is going through this empty nest period in their life, what are the top 3 or so out of 10 that you would want to give them immediately?
Yes, I'd love to share on that. So, the first thing, it's easy, is rediscover those interests that you let go of. What is it? Softball? Is it art class? Is it hiking? Is it yoga? Is it, what are those activities that you used to invest your time in because you loved it? Debate, I don't know where you'd find that as an adult, but we can find it. We could probably figure that out. Maybe it's some meetups, whatever, getting together with other people and doing bird watching. I don't know. What is your passion? What did you, besides your kids, of course, your kids are always going to be there, number one, but what are the things that that add to your tank? When you're done with it, you feel better. You feel more whole because you've spent this time out on the water paddleboarding, or even taking long walks, whatever it might be. Find those things. I have a resource available, and anyone who reaches out and signs up for the tiny URL, My Lady Tribe, I'd be happy to send out a list of hundreds and hundreds of activities where you can go through it and highlight the ones that kind of interest you, and then just pick 2 or 3 and make the decision to start investing now. Even if your kids are still home, especially if you're in the middle of it, maybe you have middle schoolers still.
Yeah.
There's no reason to wait. Start giving yourself a little bit of that time and investing in yourself. It'll only help your kids to see you flourishing beyond them. They want to see you be whole as well.
Okay, so number one
is
pick some things back up.
Yes, pick some of those interests back up. Number 2, and this is kind of big work, but you need to figure out for yourself, what is your why? What's your why beyond raising your family? What is the why that gets you out of bed in the morning? What is it you're passionate about? And it's great. Most of us will say, "Oh, my family's my why. I do everything for my family," and that is noble.
Yeah, right.
And that is special and true, absolutely. But there has to be something beyond your family, something in your heart that's for you and about you, that lights you up and gets you moving and gets you energized and gets you passionate and creates your purpose
and feeds your
soul. So yes, there's great exercises out there, but it all starts with just asking yourself, what is my why? Maybe doing some journaling. Get a nice little beautiful notebook and go into a special room in your house and put a blanket on and put some essential oils on and light a candle. Get yourself into a great comfy space and just start asking yourself these questions. What is my why? I'm going to write about that for a minute. And then the first steps to this process, they can get you very far, is just to ask that over and over again. Once you have your why written out, why? And you journal a little bit longer. Oh, really? Why do you say that? And you journal longer. And you need to spend 15, 20, 30 minutes on this. And usually it's about 6 or 7 layers into that onion, peeling back the onion of your why, that you get this zinger and you go, that's it. And you get goosebumps and you go, oh my gosh, that is my purpose.
Now.
That is it. And once you identify that, you can start making decisions from the perspective of doing that, building that, finding that, helping that, giving back to the world in that way, because that is why you're here. So there's much more work to be done on that, but that is a great start on finding your why. So that's number 2.
Okay, I love it.
And number 3, one of my favorite things to talk about, is to find your lady tribe. And there's, some people are starting from scratch because they have let those relationships go so far as that they hardly even,
my Friday night group.
Yeah, the Friday, it's just they're not non-existent anymore. And that's okay if you're starting from that. But the first step would be to identify who you already have in your tribe. Who are you already speaking with on the what I call confidant level? That means you are sharing all of your good stuff, but also all of the reality that is your life. So these women know you and know you. You're living life together. If you have some of those, great. Write those down. But then who do you know that you might like to get to know better? Sometimes you can search your friends of friends lists. Who do you know that you're like, oh, you know what? I loved her energy. Wish we'd had more time. So reach out and schedule a coffee. And you have something in common to talk about already. So if our mutual friend is Michelle, we can talk about Michelle
and ask your friends
and how wonderful she is.
Thank you. And ask your friends for matchmaking in that area.
Yeah, absolutely.
We always say that if I love them, you'll love them. But ask for that judgment call. If you had not made the match between Jane and I would have been missing out on a really wonderful person in my life over time. So when you're putting your people together and who you already know and who you want to get to know better, use your confidants and good friends to make matchmaking suggestions for you.
Absolutely. And if you don't even, if you're kind of having a short list on that as well, that's okay. Who do you pass by on a regular basis that you kind of light up when you see them, or they have this energy and you don't even know their name? Maybe it's someone you see at King Soopers all the time. You're like, I see her around a lot. Our paths cross. The universe is kind of putting us in the same area. I want to get to know King Soopers blonde girl. I need, even if you don't know their name, I guess is what I'm saying. Energetically think about who the people that you're kind of drawn to, and
that's how we met.
Yeah,
Do you realize
how we met?
That's
You're right.
How we met.
Right. So yeah, Michelle was my pharmacist, and I just loved her energy, and it was kind of weird. It felt kind of weird at the time. I go, I really like you, and I said that. I think I really like you, and I want to get to know you better. Can we connect? And she says, sure.
And here we are.
So
20 years later.
Don't exclude the pharmacy. It's possible.
No, just that person could be anywhere. And that all it takes is that initiative. If you think that you aren't surrounded by wonderful friends or wonderful people already, tune into the ones that are putting out the vibe that they're looking for the same thing.
Yes, absolutely. So so just who do I already know or have already crossed paths with that could become tribe that I would want to kind of interview for potential tribe building. And the third thing is, where can I go to meet new people? You're not going to find them at home,
And they're not on the internet.
Well, yeah, I mean, of course, we're on Facebook all the time, and we have hundreds of friends on Facebook, but those are the superficial ones, and they're great. I'm not putting them down. They're great. They help you keep up with a lot of people, right? And even reacquaint yourself with some people. But you got to get out of the house to build your tribe. And that means, where can I go? Is it going to be, is it the rec center? Is it a coffee shop that's buzzing all the time? Is it church groups, a meetup? Again, exploring those interests. If you're exploring an interest and you meet people doing that same interest, you have another thing in common to talk about.
Serving, volunteering.
Yes. So you get out into the world and strike up a conversation. And it's not as hard as you think. I know that's where people go, well, then I have to talk to people that I don't know, and that's uncomfortable. Well, the best strategy for that I love to share is to, instead of trying to be interesting, be interested. And that means when you come across someone new in a group, I usually say, hey, I've seen you around here before. You say hello and introduce yourself, be friendly, and then immediately ask them a question. What brings you here? How long have you been playing badminton? Whatever it is. And sit back and let them talk and let them share. And this is a true fast track to friendship, because everybody loves to be validated in that way and listened to. And, maybe you're just asking a few follow-up questions, being engaging. That, there are so few really great active listeners out there that they're immediately going to love you for showing an interest in them. And so
definitely
don't be interesting, be interested. It takes all the pressure off, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, one of my favorite questions when you're with your group of old friends, so to speak, that you're trying to reconnect with, and and get back to that vulnerable level of friendship and conversation is sort of that catch up moment, but tell me what's happening with you. And that seems like a passing the time of day thing, but when you really lean into that space and you truly are interested in it, it immediately takes off all that pressure of feeling like you have to host the party or carry the conversation. It gives you almost a dares you to not make it you don't have to cover any of the ground of where you've been or what you've been doing when you're busy focusing on, I care about what you're saying. I care about where you've been and what's been happening. It's, so rich.
Absolutely.
So rich.
And I would say one last thing to do in that situation is once you've really kind of gotten to know this person a little bit and you've allowed them to share so much, don't miss the opportunity of setting a one-on-one date, a coffee date or whatnot, to get to know each other a little bit more. Kind of like book a meeting from a meeting in business. While you're there, while your calendars are out, everybody has their phone with them. Book a time where you can, outside of that activity, get together and learn a little more and just kind of progress that relationship forward in a way. And you may find out that that's maybe they're tribe-worthy, maybe they're not. But you are at least practicing those muscles of getting out there and meeting people and kind of filling your own tank socially as well.
Well, and getting the benefit of the one-on-one, since so much of our interactions, sometimes we're working from home, we're socializing from home, where we haven't been in each other's same space to get the benefit of being face-to-face again with each other. And so I'm all about the one-on-one. And when, I don't know, if you looked me up on Facebook, I might have like 40 friends, but I guarantee you I have spent that one-on-one FaceTime in person, because that is what actually builds the real relationship between one another, not just what I put out there for you to share or see about my life. It actually opens the door and lets you into my life.
Yes.
And so I love it. Pick the one-on-one and set the date.
I love it. So yes, the 3 takeaways for you today, really anywhere on the spectrum as far as where you are as a mother, or as you are invested in your family, or as you're invested even in your career. I've seen career women who have been so solely focused on their business or their job that same thing happens. The friendships fall off, their activities and interests fall off, and they don't probably even know what lights them up anymore beyond the demands of their job, right?
Yeah.
You know some women like that too.
Yeah, it goes both ways.
It definitely does. So the 3 action steps for you, the takeaways, is number 1, explore your interests a little bit. What have you maybe let go of that you would like to pick up again, and play, get some play time in. Second thing, discover your why, figure that out. Invest that time in yourself and it's not a lot of time, but invest that focused time just going inward and asking yourself those questions. Why? And third, find your lady tribe. And you are in the right place for that, because we are all about finding your lady tribe. So we're so glad you're here. Thank you. Thanks for being here with us today. When 3 or more gather, we are tribe. Thank you so much for joining us today for Find Your Lady Tribe. Would you do us a favor and hit that like button and add a comment? It'll really help us grow.
Better yet, find the share arrow and share out to your tribe. Join us again next week on YouTube or your favorite podcast service.